What is up, you beauties? My name is BatchatBegins, and before we get into today's tank review, I just want to give you just a little bit of a channel update. I am receiving a new GPU and computer from a friend of mine, and so we are going to go ahead and start streaming both on YouTube and Twitch. I'm personally going to prefer streaming on Twitch because I will be streaming multiple types of games there. So if you'd like to go ahead and follow me on that platform, the links will be in the description below. By the way, if you want to be notified about videos and when they come out, either hit the bell button or go ahead and join the Discord. Link is in the description below. You can find all the relevant links there. But never mind that, getting into today's video, we are going to go ahead and talk about what is undoubtedly the strongest tier 8 medium tank in the game right now. And if you think you have an opinion on what could be a stronger tier 8 medium tank, go ahead and let me know. I have a feeling I'll be seeing some comments about chimeras, but the biggest thing about the Progetto 46 is the incredible alpha damage that you can get out with the gun. If you get all 3 shells out, you're dealing 720 total alpha damage, and then you can shoot just like a normal tank after that, reloading every 5 seconds if you're running calibrated, which is amazing. This tank is absolutely crazy. It's got good mobility, it's got 9 degrees of gun depression, which is very, very solid. And what sets it apart from tanks like the T69, which are auto reloaders and other aspects of medium tanks, is that mobility, and is the fact that it can just continue firing after it's dumped its clip. It has 2300 DPM, but it has a lot more burst damage than you think. And with this example right here, when platooning with just a Borsig, you're able to take down a tier 8 to nearly a one-shot for the rest of your team within seconds. And then look at this, he's already ready to fire again. It's crazy. You can play this tank both as an autoloader and as a normal DPM tank right after that. And that VK just got absolutely slapped, so he's gone, no longer a threat. And now you can just use this tank as a hawk, basically. You wait in the wings, you let your team take the focus fire, and you sit back. You can reload all your shells, or you can just go ahead and use it as pure DPM and just continue firing. And that's what's amazing about this tank. I will say some of the pitfalls of the 46 are it doesn't have a ton of standard shell penetration, only getting up to about 189 when running calibrated. But that's not too bad considering you'll be basically using this as an autoloader. And with an autoloader, you're waiting for people to stop focusing on you and start focusing on your teammates. And at that point, you should have shots on weak points. So, what is Kenny Hater doing here that is so special? Well, nothing really. He's playing it to the strengths of the tank. He's supporting his platoon mate, which is the raw alpha damage, and he's putting in that fantastic DPM. And as you can see, it's just absolutely nuking every tank on the enemy team. And the problem is, no tank at tier 8 really has this burst damage and then continual DPM. So this has got to be far and away one of the best tier 8 medium tanks, and I guarantee you if you platoon with 2 of these, you'll get up into the high 90% for win rate daily. Guaranteed. And the great thing about the Italians is, when it comes to their tech tree tanks, they are no slouch either. The Pantera 44 has just as good of a gun, and the mechanic where you can dump out all those shells and continue firing, which is what makes it so deadly. The only thing that I would say that the Pantera doesn't have over the 46 is that mobility. And that's why driving 2 of these things and taking those fast flanks in tier 8 can be so devastating. And within just a couple minutes, Kenny's done 4K, which is a crazy amount for tier 8. But the thing is, you can watch people playing this tank quite often, and that's just a common occurrence. So really well done, Kenny and Black Eagle. GG, just about 4K between the 2 of them, an 8K combined game. Now, this next game that I'm featuring is one of my subscriber replays. Thank you for sending this in. Yeet RG might not be the best player on the face of the planet, but he is playing in a tank that feels comfortable on any map in the game. He's also got a Pantera for support here, and so that means he's going to be able to comfortably take a position and not get rushed, because these 2 tanks will be putting out 720 alpha damage between the 2 of them, and that is going to comfortably annihilate pretty much any tier 8 that comes up against them. There's no way you're going to be pushing 2 Italians that have this kind of reload. The big thing to keep in mind with Italian tanks is the fact that they are very squishy. Even the tier 10 Progetto 65 has a weak turret and weak sides, but the lower tier Italians don't have a ton of turret armor to speak of. You can usually just go ahead and shoot around the gun manlet and pin very, very easily, and their frontal hull armor is not fantastic. So the things you need to do with the Progetto are be aware of your surroundings, be very keen of any threats that might be approaching you within the next minutes. but you also need to have a fallback plan. So if you do get rushed, you have a safe escape route to go ahead and make use of. That will let you go ahead and get away from the danger and keep your gun in the fight, which is incredibly important for clutch late game situations. And as you will see, RG will be making use of that. Another important thing to keep in mind when playing this tank is the accuracy is not super fantastic on the move, so you want to try to limit on the move shots and try to aim as best as possible from the midline. Don't play this thing like a sniper. With .317 dispersion, it's going to be missing some shells, and that's going to lower your effective DPM throughout the game. You want to flank, and you want to make use of your teammates taking the aggro of the enemy team, and just go ahead and get out that fantastic DPM that you have. As you can see, Yeet RG and that Pantera are making a fantastic duo right now, going ahead and dropping the STI below 1500 hit points, and still having shells to go ahead and deal with the Ferdinand a bit. But of course, after getting the cap, you don't want to sit around. You want to go ahead and reposition to a more advantageous spot as soon as possible. Right now, it just looks like RG's not super familiar with this map yet, and I can't blame him. This part of the city is a little bit tricky to go ahead and navigate if you haven't played it a ton of times. But this is one of the strongest points on Yukon because you're able to make use of this natural barrier here and just kind of kite enemies around while also getting shots through the logs. A very strong spot in my opinion. And as you can see, RG's making use of that mobility, getting behind the STI, and just going ahead and layering him, getting off that 720 alpha damage, potentially even getting high rolls thanks to the max roll crew skill in the game, as you all well know of. But this ST does not stand a chance. Even if he does get one shot off there, he's already been shot so many times, losing that hit point buffer that he had earlier, that 1500 hit point buffer, and now he is already down to a one shot. The one thing I will say, and this is just advice to you all, it is not super great to go ahead and make use of auto aim a ton, because auto aim will indeed screw you over a couple times because of how imprecise it is. It tends to aim at the very middle of tanks, and sometimes the middle of tanks will have a armor plate that is just not pinnable. For instance, if you shoot at the side of the WZ-120 GFT at tier 8, the tank destroyer, there is a plate on the side that just cannot be pinned, and a lot of the time auto aim does tend to hit that. Getting back into the replay, as you can see, RG's doing another fantastic job of isolating tanks, and this is where not auto aiming would definitely save him a bit of time and potentially a bit of hit points. He did get very lucky to go ahead and bounce that shot. I'm actually not sure where that hit, but as you well know, like I said earlier, the Mod 46, it does not have a ton of armor, and he doesn't get lucky twice. So he could have saved himself a little bit of HP, and that would have helped him have more of a buffer against this WZ-120. I would have liked to have seen him reload that second shell, but he's going to go ahead and fight it out the way an auto reloader should at this point, which is just pure DPM, not even worrying about doing the reload. And as you can see, he's definitely going to comfortably win this fight. He out-reloads the WZ by at least 4 seconds if the WZ is running calibrated. And unfortunately, this last shot right here is not going to go in. But he does manage to go ahead and cap to 1,000 points, gets a mastery badge, and 5,100 damage. Very well played. Thank you guys for sending in those replays, and I hope you guys will pick up the Progetto 46 the next time it comes into store. It'll definitely help you learn how to play autoloaders a little bit better. Alright guys, that'll be it for me. This has been BatchatBegins, and I'll see you guys in the next one.